Hello, warriors. I want to fill you in on a couple of great things that happened recently. Last Thursday evening was our Warriors Live event here in New York City, and it was nothing short of miraculous. We had a wonderful crowd of parents and grandparents gathered before me as I sat on the stage with Lynn's Warriors Advisory Council member, Dr. Ann Ritchie, and also the Honorable Fernando Camacho, who joined me so we could talk about survivor perspectives regarding medical and legal components, everything to do with human trafficking. We wanted the audience to know the realities. And then I stepped in at the end to provide some solutions. It was such a beautiful night. But as I sat there, you really could hear a pin drop from the audience. Some were just staring, some had their mouths wide open. It was dinner and discussion. Nobody was really eating while we were talking. So we talked for about 45 minutes, and then we did a Q&A. And before I tell you about the Q&A, the thing that hit me all of a sudden when I was sitting there is that this was a room full of concerned parents and grandparents, loving parents and grandparents, people who wanted to know more about how to protect our children. But we have so many kids that are trafficked, that are ignored, that are abused. There's nobody in that room for them. That's the missing link. What are we going to do for those kids, the really vulnerable ones? We have a lot of work to do, warriors. We've got to protect all children. But as I say, one step at a time. So if I can raise awareness, if I can educate, if I can provide resources, one person at a time, that's what it takes. It has to be very grassroots. It has to be very community oriented. That has to be. And I got a lot of good reaction. People called me, people emailed me, all ages, I'd say from the 30s to the 80s in my group. And I kept thinking about those vulnerable kids. No one cares about them. That's how they fall into trafficking. A drug addict parent, a non-present parent. They're all the time on their phone. They're so vulnerable, and they talk to a stranger, but they think it's a friend. It happens so easily. But Warriors Live New York City, our kickoff event was fantastic. I'm putting together some other new events as I sit here, and I will share those with you shortly as soon as I have them put together. So that's a great way to kick off this. And I did my weekly radio show on WVOX here in New York, Lynn's Warriors. And today I had two fantastic women. And I started the program with, March is Women's History Month. And these are two fantastic women making a huge difference, and the kind of women we want our girls and other women to know about and to share. The first, Maria Bartiromo from Fox Business, who does a daily show, Mornings with Maria. And she also does Sunday Morning Futures on Fox Network. But she hosted, and it's online right now. It is terrific. It's called Killer Apps, a 4-part investigative series, Killer Apps, streaming now on Fox Nation. So she came on the Warriors today. And we also had beautiful Jane Manning, attorney, working here, Women's Equal Justice Project, to help women and navigate the criminal justice system. And I learned so much from Jane that it is so sorely lacking, which I knew, but really lacking. For instance, we have 35,000 NYPD, yet about 300 are assigned to the Special Victims Unit, Sex Crimes Unit, and Child Abuse Unit. So it's lacking, to say the least. We need to change up in that. We have the best police force here, I'm sorry, in the country, in my opinion, but we need to change it up. And we do have a chance, because in New York City, we have the first time a woman police commissioner. So we're feeling that out to get meetings, to talk to her, to present what we want her to know about the state of, for instance, the sex trade, what's happening with it, our equality model, where decriminalized people prostituted, but not pimps and traffickers and other third parties that cause harm. So we have a lot of work to do, but I want to urge everybody to take a few moments to watch the 4 episodes. I think they're about 30 minutes from Marita Bartiromo. She was terrific. I'll be posting the whole interview a little bit later on. I just got home, and you'll listen to that as well. I'll have it on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, linswarriors.org. But the first episode is called Dangerous Algorithms. And Maria interviews Ian Russell, father of Molly Russell, who killed herself because she was bombarded with content of self-harm and suicide. And warriors, how many times have you heard this? Don't wait till it's too late. Have an action plan in place right now. I don't care if it's a kitchen cabinet. Write down the suicide prevention lifeline. Write down the website. Even now, if you took 5 minutes here and there to read these websites, just because if your child or family member, you see any of these indicators, you will know what to do. So I'm always suggesting an action plan, but that was Dangerous Algorithms, which we know because we know from studies, and I won't bore you rattling off numbers, but the algorithms online are set up to direct children, for instance, to easy accessibility to porn. Child could be searching boy, girl, and eventually, not that far down the road, they get into some porn. Easy. And those boxes that say 18 or older, I mean, checking them off. We've got to hit them in the purse. We've got to stop the credit card companies who accept payment until these sites step up and do better in their verification. Then we want everybody to do whatever they want, but not when it comes to our children, okay? Not having them inundated through algorithms into this exploitation. So that's episode 1. And Maria also talked about, these viral, eat the Tide Pods and take a belt and try to strangle yourself and then take it off right before you pass out. And, it begs the question, why are our kids even doing this? It's dangerous. That's why I want you to watch Killer Apps on Fox Nation streaming now. In episode 2, Double Life, a travel blogger who everybody thought she had the most perfect life. She could barely, she racked up all kinds of debt just trying to maintain this look, this vision of how great her life was, traveling everywhere. It's not what you think, warriors, but I bet, because if you're listening to me right now, you know a lot of this. And then the 3rd episode, Cartel TikTok. And it came and went. It was mentioned at one point that Instagram was recruiting teens on the border to carry drugs, smuggle people. Again, it came and went. If a 12-year-old kid can make $10,000, they're going to do it. Not going to work where you can work at 12 years old. And the 4th episode, Pro Anna. There are so many social media posts that encourage eating disorders, and also very dangerous content that the teens, being vulnerable leading up to COVID, during COVID, and now we're seeing some of the after effects, still afraid, still vulnerable, are out of control. And so happily though, there's a lot of good stuff. So that means we have to be a warrior in our own home and protect our own children. Take action. But for instance, Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, sponsor of the Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, that is holding apps responsible for the harm caused. So this was recently introduced. And again, warriors, bipartisan, everything we talk about belongs to no political party, belongs to all of us. It's time for all of us to step up, because I guarantee once something happens to your child, then you're going to want to step up, but step up and intervene now. And no, it's not when something's going to happen to your child. No, it's not if, it's when, because we know by the age 11, they have seen porn images. Intercept this. communicate, talk to the kids, know what they're doing online, make them our partners. Don't be scary and yelling. That does no good. And a casual conversation, so what are you looking at? What game are you playing? And start there. Oh, and do you know all the friends that play with you? And double check. Remember what I think. I'm sure you pay for those devices and you pay for the internet, so you have every right to look at what's going on. I was very inspired by these two women. And then Jane Manning is just a doll. I mean, to work in the trenches with the criminal justice system and help women navigate those waters. Unbelievable. So we want to support our women. And I want to leave you also, I brought it up last week. I want to bring it up again. Dirty Dozen list. What's a Dirty Dozen? DirtyDozenList.com, put out annually from the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C., and 12 entities are chosen that put profit over people. So it is a take action. It takes a couple of minutes, maybe up to 10. All the work is done for you from the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. You will see 12 boxes. For instance, a box may say Reddit, Twitter, VeriSign, TikTok. Those are some of the companies. And read a little bit about the history, what's going on. Remember, education, knowledge, gotta know. And then you fill in, your name and zip code and hit the send button. All the work's done for you. It goes to that company. I want to remind all of you, numbers count. When the public creates a backlash, that's when corporations sit up and take count. So remember, we can't do this alone. We need all of you. And I don't want to go on too long because I know everybody's probably tired, have a lot going on. There's a terrific event here in New York, March 22nd at Roosevelt House, 5 to 6:30. If you go on linswarriors.org, you will find out what that is and perhaps would like to attend. You'll find out how you do attend, linswarriors.org. You can also watch it virtually online. But I have to say that it was so nice to be in a room full of people, no masks, dinner party, candles, talking, reaction, coming up with solutions. And warriors, that is what is needed to protect our children. So come on, join me. linswarriors.org. Help me, help us protect our children today and every day.